many would say that education is man's greatest treasure. However, the delusional compulsion with being the highest achiever has compelled many people with these beliefs to become obsessed with the idea of the latter. The joy of learning has turned into a competition, one that has taken a toll on scholars. I remember when I was young, learning was fun and through games, songs, and activities. But now that I'm older, I wonder where has all of the fun went? The ever growing pressure that society places on scholars is so great that if I were to express it in numbers, it would violate the seemingly unbreakable laws of mathematics. Society, in a way, has shaped us to think, to believe in a prejudiced way of thinking, whether consciously or subconsciously, in our minds since we were toddlers. This prejudiced way of thinking could have been programmed by our parents or relatives who may have made similar remarks to look at the garbage collector. If you don't want to end up like them, you better study hard and become a doctor. That way, you'll have a better life. My grandmother used to advise me that if I do not want to end up cleaning up after other people's doo-doo, I'll have to study hard and get a good education. According to her, people who are not educated do not have many choices in life. I remember a time when I was in Amsterdam at a restaurant when I overheard a mother very eagerly telling a son, I am so happy. My son finally figured out what degree he wants to study. To which the father replies, that's great. What is he going to study? Is it medical, law, or business? So the mother then says, no, he wants to study supply chain and logistics management. So the friend, intrigued by her answer, asked, so what is he going to do after he completes his degree? The mother says, oh, he wants to do this. I wonder what my mom would say if I told her this. In Asia, many parents coddle and micromanage their children, citing the need for them to be 100% focused on academics and doing well in school. This has caused many people to blindly memorize materials without fully understanding the concepts and topics. Just like one of my uncles, who speaks no Mandarin at all, but got an A for his Chinese. On the other hand, the Western education system is more student-oriented, encourages creativity and innovation, and develops critical thinking and problem-solving skills, as well as focuses on strengthening one's unique talents. I believe that the pressures that society places on scholars has to change. I believe that the human voice is an extraordinarily powerful tool. A voice that could orchestrate the crumbling of the Berlin Wall, a voice that could change the world. Today, I would be using this humble voice of mine to call for awareness on how the pressures of education can take a toll on us. As a student, I can totally understand the pressures and stress that can surface from academics and also parents. At the age of 12, I took my very first national examination, the PSLE, or also known as the Primary School Leaving Examination. Our society has been conditioned to view the PSLE as a high-stakes exam, and Singapore parents seem to treat the PSLE like playing games, thinking if you get high scores, you'll have a better life. For PSLE, I worked extra hard on my academics, did lots of past year exam papers, and even enrolled in the best enrichment center, causing my mom to spend $8,000 on enrichment centers in 4 months. There were times where I felt so stressed out that I could feel my intestines up my throat. The more the amount of these papers I did, the more mistakes I made. And it was then I discovered I had developed a condition called brain fog. Brain fog isn't a medical condition itself, but a type of cognitive dysfunction involving memory problems, lack of mental clarity, and poor concentration. So if you find yourself unable to remember my first opening line, or fidgeting in your seats right now, or just unable to follow my speech altogether, you may also be suffering from brain fog. Some people describe it as mental fatigue, but depending on the severity of brain fog, it may interfere with work or school. There are numerous explanations as to why brain fog occurs. Here are three common causes. The first one would be stress. Stress, in everyday terms, is a feeling that we get when we are overwhelmed and unable to cope with demands. These demands can be related to school, work, relationships, finances, or anything that poses a real or perceived threat to a person's well being can also cause stress. Some stress is helpful, but chronic stress can weaken the immune system, increase your blood pressure, and lead to mental fatigue. When your brain is exhausted, it becomes harder to think, reason, and focus. Another cause is being too busy. Commonly heard, isn't it? We often hear people saying, I don't have time, I have no time at all. But did you know that when you don't even have time to rest, relax, or sleep, you risk developing brain fog? And when your mind is tired from all your daily activities, it becomes harder to think, which could be a danger in day to day tasks. Example, driving. Thirdly, your diet definitely plays a big impact on your brain health and a role in brain fog. Inflammatory diets that are high in sugar, refined carbohydrates, unhealthy fats, and processed foods can impair your memory and learning, as well as increase your chances of developing dementia like Alzheimer's. Alcohol, when consumed in moderation, can be an enjoyable inclusion to a meal, but excessive consumption can cause confusion and unsteadiness, which will lead to mental fatigue and brain fog, which will lead to unsound decisions and illogical actions, where many crimes have arises from these. I would like to quote a recent case where the husband of a Singapore lady was killed during their holiday in Thailand when the husband got into an altercation with a drunk man at 2 a.m. when the husband told the drunk man to stop singing on his balcony. So now that we know how serious brain fog can be, what are the steps that we can do to reduce the chances of us getting brain fog? We all love vacations, don't we? Those little windows of time that we can use to relax, unwind, and escape from the stresses of our daily hectic lives. But have you ever thought of giving your mind a true vacation where you don't think about anything at all? Take a time out. Whether it's a 20-minute coffee break or a 10-minute nap, a timeout is well worth your time, as it is the quality of time that matters. You need a toilet break too, so why not your brain? Secondly, make your bedroom a sanctuary by making it a no electronic zone. No TV, no electronic devices. You need to train your brain to be wakeful in the place that you should be sleeping. If you do need to watch TV or read a book, do it in the living room. That way, your brain knows it's soothing sleep the moment you crawl under the covers. Lastly, our brain is like a car. A car needs gasoline, oil, brake fluid, and other materials to function properly. Thus, we need to fuel our mind with the proper nutrition. Have a diet that is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, berries, nuts, avocados, and leafy greens. Can you imagine pumping diesel into a Ferrari sports car? It would damage the whole fuel system. Besides taking brain vacations, having a healthy diet, and making your bedroom a no electronic zone, it is also important to support, love, encouragement, motivation, and gratitude for the people around you. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my grandma, who has shown me love and support by injecting me with the proper brain foods and preparing me a cup of bird's nest before every examination. Thank you, Grandma. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my mom, who has shown me unconditional love and encouragement by selflessly helping me with my work despite her hectic schedule, encouraging me to read self-development books, and taking me to inspirational seminars like Tony Robbins. Thank you, Mom. Last but not least, I would like to thank two very special people. They have given me a happy and caring environment that has allowed me to progress from an average PSLE score to 9 A's this year. They are none other than my principal, Mr. Lee, and my vice principal, Mr. Ho. Thank you, Mr. Lee, and thank you, Mr. Ho. To all the students out there, to learn, one must be humble and be teachable. Always remember to fully understand the concepts and topics and ask questions. Remember to do your own due diligence and practice, practice, practice. Like what great martial artist Bruce Lee once said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. To all the parents out there, trust your child to do their best. Trust your child to do well. Focus on the emotional health of your child and encourage them to enjoy the learning process. Do what is enough for your child and not what others are doing for their child. Do not be a victim of competitive parenting brought on by picture-perfect social media. Remember, the level of academics does not equate to the level of wealth and happiness. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone, and I wish all of you a fog-free evening. I am Valerie. Thank you.